Okay, well, everybody give yourself a hand, because we're right where we're supposed to be. So what's going on in our life, we're right where we're supposed to be. Whether it's with our emotions, with our body, health-wise, with our family, with our relationships, with our jobs, with our businesses, with ourselves. And Pace here, the turtle, always reminds us that it's okay to be right where we are. We don't need to be judging or hating about where we are, because that doesn't serve us. Do we want to change? That's the question. Do we want to change? Do we want things to be different? Do we want us to be different? Do we want other people? Do we want our interactions with other people to be different? Those are the type of questions to ask ourselves to get clarity on what we're doing next. Now, I want to talk a little bit about tonight about this. Personal branding. Personal branding. I do some executive coaching. Yeah. I do some executive coaching and coach with a couple executives. And sometimes one of the goals of the coaching is to help these executives develop a more personal brand of leadership. Leadership. They're in top leadership positions already, or they've just been promoted into an upper level leadership position, and they want to take their leadership to the next level. So a lot of times they say, John, I really want to help. I want some help with my personal brand, who I am as a leader. And that includes another term I'm going to use tonight called executive presence. So in the leadership realm, what do you do for work, Gerard?
Program manager.
Okay. Okay, that sounds like a leadership position to me. So in the leadership world, executive presence is how we carry ourselves as a leader. Somebody commented on how you carry yourself just today, right? And so it's how we carry ourselves. It's about executive presence is about, do we look like, sound like, act like a leader? Typically, I know in my experience, whenever I've been around leaders or in groups where there's a definite leader, I don't have to know who the leader is physically or by name to know that once I'm in the room and the leader steps in, you know who the leader is. By the way they carry themselves, by the way other people respond, by the way they respond. They just have that leadership quality of energy, connection, dominance, but not dominance in the negative sense. But they have a way of extending their energy outward so that everybody goes, yep, that's the person in charge, that's the woman in charge, that's the man in charge of this group. They're the decision maker. And so executive presence and personal brand starts to get defined by values. And this is the first place we start. Now, before I talk about values, I want to talk about executive presence. What I've learned about leadership, and when I say leadership, I'm not just talking about being in charge of an organization or of people, because there's a leadership element to ourselves, okay, that we're constantly demonstrating or not demonstrating within our own selves. Are we in charge of, are we demonstrating leadership of the way we think, the way we act, the way we talk, things we're trying to do, things we're trying to accomplish, our relationships? Are we acting in a place of responsibility and accountability for how we're showing up in that area? So you, in your photography quest, are demonstrating leadership first within yourself as it goes to what am I doing today? What actions am I taking today to take my business to the next level? Same with you. Same with you, Gina. It's like what am I doing today? So an effective leader isn't always somebody who's in charge of a bunch of people, but it's, are you in charge of yourself and how you're showing up relevant to the world around you? And so the biggest essence of executive presence is what I call executive trust. To me, the most effective and successful leaders are those who demonstrate a high degree of trust. And somebody mentioned trust today. That was Gina. An effective leader demonstrates a high degree of trust. Now, a trust in what or who? So what's one of the things that a leader, you would count on a leader to exercise trust in?
The abilities of people that are looking out for the company, people underneath them.
Okay,
Their ability to
you're right. So people, let's do it here. Let's say people underneath.
yeah.
Subordinates, absolutely. Can I be an effective leader if I don't trust the people under me to do what they're being asked to do? I can't be very effective. Who else?
My thing is myself. I trust myself.
Yourself. And this is really where it starts. If I have low self-trust, it's pretty much a given that I'm going to have low trust of others. If I don't trust myself, I'm not going to trust you to get the job done. So what am I likely to do as a leader? Micromanage. Okay? Be standing over you, checking to make sure you do what you're supposed to do. Or, never mind, I'll do it instead. Okay? Who else? Subordinates? Yourself?
People above you.
Yep. Senior leadership? Right? Who else?
For me, like a higher power.
Okay. Spiritual power?
You have to trust your clients.
Clients. Clients and customers. What happens if I have low trust of my clients or customers?
You won't build a relationship with them, for one.
Impacts the relationship. What else do I want to trust?
Mission statement.
Okay.
What we are trying to present.
Okay.
Sell, trying to our values or
Sure. Mission, purpose, right? Absolutely. If I don't trust that I'm really delivering a superior product for my customers, right? Then my emotions and my actions are not going to be aligned with that. What else am I looking for trust in?
Process.
Why is process important?
Because if you don't do that, then
controlling it, and it's not going to flow the way it's supposed to unless you just let it have peace in your process.
Right. If I'm not at peace in the process or at peace with the process, how's that going to impact how I manage my tasks or priorities or steps in order to make something happen or not? I'm going to be all over the map, and so is everybody else. There's no consistency. There's nothing to measure progress or movement with. Okay? Who else or what else do I want to have trust in? It's kind of it's a nuance, but it's up here. I've got senior leaders, subordinates, but I might have other team members, okay? Maybe I'm the head of one department and somebody else is at an equal leadership peer. Okay? If I don't trust my peers, that really destroys the foundation of what I'm trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. Okay? Now, along with clients and customers, I also have to trust my markets. It's kind of an extension of the client and customers, but I got to trust that my markets are moving however they're moving, and my customers and clients are moving in and out of the markets, but the market is more of a global condition. And a market is not just economics, so I'm not only talking about business and economics here. Your market could be all of your friends, your social circle. Okay?
Explain what that would look like. If it's your social circle and not economics, what do you mean?
So, what are the things and dynamics moving within your social circle? What are the perspectives and values and beliefs of the body at large that you associate with or are connected to? Okay? So, there's probably some more if we spent some more time developing this. All right? But a leader who is really strong with executive presence, in my mind, has a deep and abiding executive trust. My leadership is also impacted if I have low trust. And like I said, if I pick up any of these and start to have low trust in them, that impacts the quality of my leadership. And so why is this is so important? Because it's the basis of everything. Trust is the basis of everything. I had a conversation with a client the other day about trust. And she was telling me about how she has some trust issues in her life going on. And so I said, what if you started to look around you and started to intentionally identify indicators of trust that occur around you every day? And I gave her an example. We trust that people stop at a red light and go on a green light. Every day we trust that, and it's intuitive. Now, does it happen 100% of the time? No. But don't we have a state of trust when we get in our automobile that the other person is going to stop and then go? That we're going to stop and then go. Although we're in deliberate control of that, maybe we do and maybe we don't. But that's just one sign of how trust is demonstrated every day. if you look around in nature, nature is a huge indicator and demonstration of trust. These animals, they're not freaking out about the economy. You know, the squirrels are getting ready for winter, okay? They're not freaking out that winter's going to come along or that it's going to get too cold or whatever. They have a sense of trust. They're in that rhythm of trust. And so nature is always a good place that whenever we're feeling low on trust is to look around and say, well, what's nature doing? Nature doesn't freak out the way humans do. Why? What is up with that? Where does all the stuff come from that we're dealing with that makes us so untrusting? So how can we cultivate a deeper sense of trust within ourselves and likewise cultivate a sense of trust in others? Any ideas? Where do you think it starts?
Inside yourself.
So,
Yeah. It's got to start here. Again, anything we try and do outside of ourselves in a state of low trust, it's going to be a constant frustration. We might make some progress, but it's going to be very limited progress. We're always going to stumble.
The acronym that you've given in the past is REAL?
Yes.
What?
REAL. What does the R stand for?
Respect.
Respect. What does the E stand for?
Esteem.
Esteem. What does the A stand for?
Acceptance.
And what does the L stand for?
I never remember.
Loved.
What it stands for.
There it is on the wall.
Because I don't know. It's behind me.
This is the core of trust. This is the core of trust. And it's interesting, as we go up and we go through life, we make decisions and we make choices. And of course, the sum total usually of our trust, self-trust, is all relegated to how we have viewed past decisions and past choices. And we'll even project that we don't trust somebody else. Okay, for example, you hear that a lot. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. And that can happen in the business environment, in relationships, in family, or whatever. I don't trust you. Now, it's certainly obvious that people can act in a way that demonstrates that they are not available for being true to their word, showing up available, carrying their weight, being responsible or accountable. People can demonstrate those type of qualities. And when we observe that, especially when we're hurt by it, it can have really damaging effect. But do you think we are more hurt by somebody disappointing us or us being disappointed in our decision to trust somebody else? I think it's the latter. You might do something that hurts me and destroys my trust in you. But where do I go with that? Even though I'm projecting it at you, I'm going to go into myself and say, I made a choice to trust this person, and now I should not have trusted that person. I made a decision, business decision or relationship decision or whatever decision, and it didn't go the way I expected it to. Where do I naturally go to? I wonder if I can trust my ability to make good choices. See, because choice A went sour, we naturally go into judgment mode of our decision and our choice. And we can start to err on the side of, man, I really could have, because I could have made a different decision and I didn't, I'm not a good decision maker. So now how does that set me up again for the next decision I have to make?
You doubt, self-doubt.
I have self-doubt. Geez, I've looked at everything. Yep, maybe I should do it, maybe I shouldn't, but I don't know because the last time I did this, fill in the blank happened. I was a failure, and trust can go way down. This happens all the time in relationships, love relationships. I'm never getting married again. I don't trust men. I don't trust women. You know, the last time I did, I got hurt. So what did I learn? Don't trust anybody, right? How many times have we heard that? Can't trust men, can't trust women, can't trust relationships, can't trust the boss, can't trust the market, can't trust the client. And that just sets us up in this endless loop of low trust that we can't get out of. And then we wonder why. Again, the law of attraction is always at work. So then we're wondering why we keep attracting, as a magnet, people and situations and conditions that keep reinforcing this lack of trust we have going on. Can't trust our friends. Everywhere around, people are betraying me. They're doing this, they're doing that. They're not meeting my expectations. Everybody's disappointing me. Can't trust anybody except myself. Well, no, you really can't. Yourself is really who you can't trust, or who you're not trusting anymore. And so, what's the remedy for this? The remedy, I forget, that's a metal table, or has metal on it. The remedy is right here. Is it respectful or disrespectful to demonstrate a low self-trust for ourselves? Does that demonstrate more respect or less respect? Why? Why is it disrespectful to ourselves not to trust ourselves?
That's all we
Because
can do.
intuition is,
That-
that's all we have
that-
is our self-trust.
That's all we have. Go ahead, Jenna.
Because your intuition many times is right. To not trust that is in a way disrespecting yourself.
Right. And when it's right, is it perfect? No. Because decisions I made at 18, I'm going to look at differently. If I'm faced with the same decision today that I was at 18, I'm going to look at it differently. But did I make the decisions at 18? Did I probably make the best decisions at 18 that I could have made when I was 18 based on who I was, what I knew, my environment, my choices, my influences that I did at 18? I would say yes. And the same at 19, and the same at 25, and the same at 30. I mean, we make whatever decisions we make because the universe is pulling us along to teach us whatever lesson comes from that particular decision. So the universe is saying, come on, you can choose A or B. And man, if you choose A, these are all the results and consequences and the impact that you're going to experience. And if you choose B, here's all the results and impact and consequences that will come with B. Go ahead. Make your choice. You can't lose, so to speak. You can only learn. Right? Because even if you have perfect information, you still have to make a choice, and there really is no such thing as perfect information. But yet we keep beating ourselves up over things that have happened in the past that maybe didn't work out, didn't go a certain way, maybe we could have, would have, should have done differently, and we lack that, and our trust goes down. I can't make a decision today. I don't feel confident about making a decision today because of a decision I made 5 years ago and how it went. That's our natural thinking, but it's disrespectful. It teaches us that we have to be perfect in all of our decisions in order to cultivate self-trust. And no, that's not true. We don't have to be perfect. The answer is in embracing our humanity and allowing us to be flawed and allow us to simply be on this journey of learning. That mindset develops respect. It develops esteem. It develops acceptance. And it develops love. And then in trying to make the perfect decision, we're simply trying to make the best decision based on what we know right now in the present moment in order to make the decision. Full of trust that whether we choose A or B, we're going to learn something from it. But respecting our intuitive compass, so to speak, that is saying, go ahead and choose A. Or that little voice that says, I wouldn't choose A if I were you. Might want to choose B. Well, that's an important voice to listen to too, and to think about and assess. So this aspect of our REAL selves is vital to this part of having a high trust in myself. Now, if I have a high state of trust in myself, how does that influence my trust in other people? Am I reluctant to extend trust, or am I open to extending trust? I'm going to be more open to trusting other people. Because what am I really doing when I'm extending trust to somebody else? I'm respecting them. I'm empowering them. Am I setting them up? The natural tendency for the ego is that if I trust you, I set you up. It's a setup. I'm telling you I really trust you. But if you fail to meet my expectation, you've just destroyed my trust. So you have to achieve a certain result in order for me to be grounded in trust. Did you know that it's possible for somebody to disappoint you, to lose your trust, and for your trust to still be intact in the human race? It really is. But many times we see it unfolding out there around us, and even at times we've been in positions where it's, no, I can't trust other human beings. We can't trust other human beings to do what? To be human? When you're thinking about trusting, that's what you're really doing. When I'm extending trust in you, I'm saying, be human. Be human. It's going to be okay for you to be human. In fact, that's all I trust that you're going to do. My trust in you is that you're going to be human.
It's easy.
Right? You're going to be human. That may result in positive things going well for us. It might result in us going our separate ways. But either way, my trust in you being human is the core trust that doesn't set me up for failure. And guess what? It doesn't set you up for failure either. Because you're right where you're supposed to be in your learning path. And maybe it's not supposed to work out, whatever it is we're trying to work out. Then why does it have to? So, executive trust, trusting ourselves, comes with allowing ourselves to be human. And then number 2, having the confidence and peace that we're okay, it's okay to be human. And that we can take care of ourselves as a human being. I can trust my own ability to take care of myself emotionally if you let me down. But if I make you responsible for my emotional state of mind, and you blow my trust, that's where I have the resentment, that you let me down and I can't trust you, nor can I trust anybody like you, because all you ever do is keep letting me down. Well, when I stop making you responsible for my level of trust and my emotional state of mind and my emotional feelings, and just allow you to be human, you don't have to carry that burden anymore. And neither do I. That's why executive trust in the corporate world, in the business world, creates such an amount of freedom. Because otherwise I'm walking around as a leader going, can't trust process, can't trust customer, can't trust client, can't trust my team, I can't trust my assistant, I can't trust my senior management, I can't trust my peers. And so we're surrounded by distrust, and then we're managing through distrust. What does that feel like? You're chasing everything down all the time. You're never ahead. There is no peace in the process. And so the reason this has become such a central core with the executives that I'm coaching is because they're in the dynamic corporate world there, where there's a lot of moving pieces and where there are $1 million decisions being made. Okay? And a lot of people involved in that. And so as I see them growing in their leadership, the more trust that they start to get in touch with inside and to demonstrate outward, the better performance they get. The better performance they get personally out of themselves, the better performance they start to get from other people. If not, they know that they can replace those people. What does that say? Trust in the market, trust in the process. And all of this is also abundance mindset. If I'm low on trust, I'm low on everything else. There's not enough people, not enough money, not enough clients, not enough process, not enough product, not enough economy, not enough love, not enough health, not enough gas. I mean, whatever it is, if I'm low trust, I'm looking at everything through a lens of limitation. Not enough. And that has a huge spillover effect into performance. And then I wonder why I'm not sleeping at night, because I'm looking at everything as if there's not enough. But when I start to expand and grow in my trust, then that opens doors for everything else to start to unfold. I know that there's no element of any of this that cannot be changed. There's no part of any of this that cannot be allowed to exist as it is, that I have to fight. Okay? Now, if I'm in a process, whether it's a personal process for starting my own business, or a process at work, or a process in a relationship, am I stuck to the process? Am I married to the process? I can change the process anytime I want to. Unless I'm afraid.
I'm against that. That's what I'm up against. I'm up against that. Because I trust myself. This is why maybe she said those things, because I trust myself. I know what I'm doing, because I feel I know. But I challenge her when we converse. She knows that I don't trust her.
Do you not trust her?
I don't think she takes care of her people. And maybe because I'm in a military kind of mind, I don't think she looks out for us. Because she said it. The reason why she couldn't get me to leave because she couldn't trust the other guys to ensure they could cover me. And I was like, wow. And we're supposed to be one big team. It's your job to make sure you can trust them and make sure that they can do it. That's why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't trust them, let them go. I mean, it's so simple to me. So it's almost like I feel I don't understand sometimes her logic. I don't understand her logic.
So what would we do in a situation with somebody who demonstrates low trust, but we're coming in with high trust? And let's say they have low trust. Any thoughts?
I want to know.
I'm sure that you can work it out. I'm sure you know the answers. Or
Well, yep, you're on the right track there.
if she's your boss, it would be difficult to.
You're on the right track.
Sometimes, I've been in that situation too. Probably in my wiser years, I figured it out a little bit better. But, I lean into quotes a lot. Some real successful people to kind of help be a little bit of a supporting cast for my reasoning, if it seems like, because a lot of times executives, they say they invite the feedback until there's action put behind it. So, for instance, Richard brings some proposals like, once in a while you have to challenge your leader. Now he doesn't say in there what time, where, or when, but in those situations, which I've been put in, like, it's selling season. You're going to be going, 10 days. Yeah, I gave you the other 355. And I think that I've kind of leaned into that. I don't know that I've always made the best decisions, but I try to lean into that. Just those that have been successful.
Yeah.
Kind of paint a bigger picture that, hey, here we're talking about a billionaire that's saying, I challenge you once in a while.
Right.
Maybe that challenge is saying, hey, you got to figure it out. I'm sure it can get a little bit more granular with it, but that's just what's helped me out in the past. And in terms of justifying, true story of going to England for 10 days. You're doing what? Yeah. I sure am. I've been here 6 years.
Sure.
So, and I think sometimes, just taking that hard stance and, having just joined an organization recently, the VP that I report to, he said, one of the things I love about Brian, who was my assigned mentor, was he gives pushback. And for whatever it's worth, we're building another division within the organization. And it's just crazy to see because of what Brian had to go through in order to get to where he's at. And sometimes he says, sleeping with one eye peeled open, he's going to have a job the next day. But he's like, you paid me to do this role. Why are you paying me if you don't allow me to do that role, or fulfill that role? And so I think that's lending some good support too. Joining this new organization, to have those conversations is very synonymous with what you've shared.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've shared any of the right answers or even have the right answers, but I kind of lean into that for myself,
So there is a way to lean in. Okay, and there's an optimal way to lean in, and this is a way you can practice to lean in. But what I have found with somebody who, for whatever reason, either feels a sense of low trust within themselves or is projecting distrust, would be to approach the topic of trust. And to, when possible, affirm that trust is already there. So, for example, hey boss, I trust you to know when it's best for me to take off, as I trust myself to know when there's something I'd like to go do. I'm committed. You can count on that.
Yeah, I believe I said something similar to that. I don't want to get into this is what I have done. I try to.
Yeah, no. And see, the thing is that typically there's a confrontational way. Now, there may be a time in your life when you have to stand and confront. Absolutely. And you know what? You always stand firmer when you're coming from your REAL place and you're very clear. Okay? Almost never do you ever have to attack somebody on a personal basis. Tell them what they're supposed to do. Okay? The stronger position, empowered leadership, executive presence, executive allows me to say, because I in this relationship, I want you to know that I will never do A when B is going on, because you can trust me. See what I'm saying? And I trust, because I value trust and your decisions, this is what trust looks like, feels like, sounds like to me. Does that make sense?
You take that hard line stance, and it's something that I've wrestled with, that, it's not, you're subjecting yourself to some vulnerability at that point.
Absolutely.
You feel really good about your decision-making process of taking off. But, I think for me, I agree with you, like that badge of honor, like what I've done, and it invites that confrontation. That's been hard for me to get away, because everyone's always so quick to throw it out there. Wait a second, but for me, I have found that, and again, I don't know if this is a perfect answer, but that was something I was presented with 3 years ago, where I took a hardline stance, where I had a VP who was drastically affecting my income.
Sure.
And he was like, "Yeah, take this individual on your team," and for time's sake purposes, I was like, "No." And okay, well, you can step down, or you can work, or you can work for me and go back in the sales role, or you can take my team. I said, neither. And I think at that point, I was, vulnerable to the state of what the unpredicted consequence was going to be. And it was, we could step down. And I think in my mind, I was so hard-lined that this is the way I felt, that it didn't matter what the outcome was, but limited an opportunity for growth. And
Absolutely.
I think that for me, people say, you own your own business, and how did you do it? I honestly am not the smartest guy in the room. I just think that at that point in time that I had a chance to grow, or I was maybe forced to grow, because I wasn't going to compromise.
Sure.
Because
Sure.
that here, we had to meet Eugene, here in the last 6-7 months, and John, and kind of starting all over again. But I trusted that, and I don't know that I trust myself every time, but I think that in those situations, it's forced me to say, I know I can do it.
Right.
Trusting myself to move forward, perpetuate. But I think I agree with you that vulnerability is kind of, it invites a timid stance as well.
Right.
Because I'm direct in a way that's not confrontational, but because at the end she said, "Dave, what can we do for you to take those 3 days off? Maybe we can do this, we can do that." And at the end, I was like, "No, it's no problem for me. Testing this next week, I'll be there next week. It's no problem for me." When I seen that what she said, I called her, because I was like, "Listen, we do this team building once a month. We talk about we're a team. Items for our school, we put the district. So I look at it as, if someone else have to take time off, I'm the first to volunteer to cover that person."
Right.
That's how I looked at it.
Sure.
That's how we are presenting the group. We presented it as that, but when you ask, it's the opposite. And I had to say that. And then, she started kind of backpedaling, but then she said, "David, I need to maybe talk to this guy." I was like, it's not that, it wasn't that big. I asked because it was going to, she said yes, and then okay, but it's just that when she came with the other stuff about the hobby thing.
Sure.
And I was okay with that.
Yeah.
Because maybe it is a hobby for me. because I love what I'm doing. I mean, I'm sorry. I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy
Yeah.
my personal time, and I enjoy my job also.
Absolutely.
And I didn't take it as a negative reply to me. And I think that kind of took off guard a little bit, because everything I said was positive. You know?
Right.
I tried to stay within the piece I wanted to be in. You know? It's okay.
And that's where, great discussion. Thank you, Josh and David, for bringing that up, because this thing here, the V word, values, becomes the foundation for trust. Okay? And for demonstrating trust. And for helping other people grow their trust. Because when I put things in the context of, because I value, I'm just going to write some words. Respect. The team. Clarity.
Right.
Peace. Consistency.
Yes.
Trust. Because I value trust. Process. Client. See what I'm saying? You can put every one of these over here. Okay? And lead your sentence either. Now this is also to yourself. Wait a minute. Because I value, John keeps telling me REAL, okay. Because I value self-respect, what choice can I make in this situation, whatever it is, that demonstrates the most respect for myself? Does that help me make the decision? You know, same with esteem, acceptance, or love, fill in the blank. Because I value clarity, if I use that term with a subordinate, well, you know, because I value clarity, I really want to make sure that I understand you. And that my response back to you is crystal clear so that you understand me. Are you open and available for that kind of conversation? See what I'm saying? And then you explore. If I tell you, you should be clear. You should be more clear. Okay? That has a vibration to it. That's a technique. I might get a certain result. Okay? But if I say, because I value clarity, and clarity allows us to work more effectively, work more efficiently, you know, work the process better, take care of our clients, take care of our customers, take care of ourselves. Because I value clarity, this is what I understand to be happening in the process. So what I'm saying, it opens a door for a different exchange to take place. And it demonstrates that you're demonstrating executive presence because you're full of executive trust. Because what do you trust? The values. I trust the values. Because the values drive the results. If I have respect, clarity, collaboration, and cooperation, how are we going to take care of the clients and customers? Are we going to be taking care of the clients and customers if those things are going on? Yes.
I'm just confirming the decision I made almost 2.5 years ago. That decision, because he says as I'm getting ready to leave, he goes, I know I talk out both sides of my mouth sometimes, but, and I'm like, how can you lend good leadership when
Right.
you can honestly say, I talk out, I was like, did he just say that?
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah, you know.
what I'm doing right now. Because as long as I'm here, I never know where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, and you know, for me, that drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So, and with her, I have to be, I mean, it's been 3 years we're working together, so, and I think for her, it's hard for me. It's hard for her to deal with me. Not deal with, but when she does my performance evaluation, you know how you want to give somebody something bad, but you can't because he covered everything he has to do, and he knows his job, you know, and she knows that, and I know in my heart, I know I will have her job. I know it. She knows it, and I carry myself that way, not to be arrogant towards her, but that's how I carry myself.
Right. Well, and if you carry yourself that way, if we carry ourselves this way, we are still in a better position to open up the door and relate to somebody else. If you bring more of this in, you can go, you know what? Okay, she's not going to go away, and neither am I, at least not for the short term. How am I looking at her? How am I looking at her? What judgments, what perspectives, what beliefs do I have about her, and where do they come from? What if I'm not accurate? What if I'm wrong? What energy does this perspective create? Does this perspective serve me? Does it does it improve the relationship, or does it impact the relationship? Does it keep me from showing up available in a certain way, or does it help me show up available in a certain way? What would be a completely different way for me to show up with this person than I ever had before in the past? What values would I want to kick in to demonstrate new values in the relationship? How would I communicate with this person based on a new value or a new understanding? And this is business, this is family, this is spouse, siblings, friends, whatever. What would be the impact? What if I came from this angle instead of this angle? What would I have to lose? What would I have to gain? What fears would I need to overcome? What perspectives would I need to toss and maybe put on another? Oh, I get it, man, this person's probably showing up this way, not because of my previous perspective of this person, but they're just human. They're just being themselves. Their perspective has got nothing to do with me. But to them, it does. Well, they're just being human. So if I can allow and embrace for somebody else to be human, they can't take my trust. Can they? It's impossible. Now, could I still be hurt in a relationship? Could I still be emotionally hurt? Could I be disappointed? Could I be professionally hurt or disappointed? Yeah. But I haven't given away all my power.
I was just going to ask him about 10 minutes ago, you mentioned something about, trusting them as a human. You're giving them the opportunity to either help grow or to fail at the end of the day, allowing them to be human. So is it that hard line that you draw that once, say it doesn't go growth mode, then you say, hey, we have to break off? Because, I mean, you kind of fed into what I was going to ask and kind of answered the question halfway there. But to where that basically you say, okay, well, I gave you that opportunity to be human. It didn't work out. I'm done. To where you don't have to be emotionally riveted by the fact that not they kind of betrayed you, but they just didn't live up to the expectation.
It didn't work out. They were human.
That way,
right.
To say, hey, I can move forward and find.
One of my favorite words in the English language, that's an excellent question. One of my favorite words in the English language is this word. wow, it looks like we're just not a fit. We're just not a fit. I appreciate your effort. Thanks for coming in and trying. But because we value the process and the customer and certain standards of performance in this business, I think it's going to be better if we just set you free so that you can go pursue another opportunity that might be a better fit for you. Because it's clear that we're struggling here, we're struggling there. After numerous opportunities, there's been no change, no movement, no impact. Nothing's changed. So thank you. It looks like we're not a fit. Doesn't mean you don't like them. Is every human supposed to be a fit for every situation? No. And fits and preferences changes. In the business world, it's very different. Businesses, especially for-profit, well, even non-profit, any business that is trying to make an impact and make money and control costs has certain standards of performance that just are. This is the business. Thank you for wanting to work in this business. In order for us to create conditions for success in this business, this is how we judge our performance. And it can be as detailed or not, whatever your process is. But that's where, because I value clarity and you're coming on board as a new employee, let me be very clear. These are the expectations. These are the resources I'm providing for training and help. If after a period of time it becomes clear that these performance measures don't happen, we let people go. This business isn't for everybody, and it doesn't have to be. It's not a judgment on whether anybody is good or bad, but we find that people who are a fit for this business demonstrate these values, these qualities, these characteristics. Follow this process. Oh, you're not following the process. Because I respect the process, because the process allows us to create conditions for success for our business and our clients and compliance and for other things, the process is very important. Can you demonstrate respect for the process? If so, this is what respect for the process looks like. You do this, you do that on time, you fill out this form. This is what happens.
Do you do a type of you phrasing there if you're not getting the results that you're looking for? For instance, I see that the processes are being honored. We're not getting the results that we're looking for. What do you think you could do differently?
Sure.
How much time do you think it should take you?
Absolutely.
What do you think the challenges that are being presented are why you aren't able to get it done?
Absolutely.
You're saying you should get it done.
Absolutely. Saying you should and you're supposed to has limited value.
Sure.
That's exactly what you do. Say, tell me more. It seems that we're struggling here, that, over a period of time that you're demonstrating failure to do this. And I'm really curious as to why. Can you help me out there?
It's like coaching. I coach basketball, and I don't cut anybody. And the principal asked me, said, "You don't cut no one." And I said, because the people who don't want to be there, they will leave. And the people who don't perform up to par, they will stay and they will work harder to get it. I said, it's so simple. And I always start off with 19 girls and end up with 12.
Right.
And I haven't let anyone go. And I don't take it personal when they leave.
Right.
Because it's the ownership is all on them.
Yeah. So if you're in a business and somebody's not performing, I don't have to take that personal. Because I value clarity and respect, I've made sure that you know what the job is. I've reviewed it a couple times. I've observed you perform it. I've backfilled and provided additional resources or additional instructions on how to do it. It still hasn't worked. You know what? This doesn't feel like a fit. Because a fit to me sounds like, looks like, feels like. What are your thoughts? What can you share? Yeah.
So I'm trying to put this in context of me and my daughter, because that I don't have any intentions of drawing a hard line saying we're not a fit.
No, family's a little bit different.
Family's a little bit different, but she's moved away to college. She's really struggling on kind of getting it together on living independently, right? So like forgetting where her dorm key is and having to pay the fee to go get another one, and dropping the dorm room card to swipe it, having to go get another one, being late for doctor's appointments, having to get her medications filled at the last minute, and trying, you know what I mean? She's trying to live independently, and it's not been really smooth process yet, right? So she's like, Mom, I'm not doing this right. I feel like a dork, you know, like I feel like, and I'm like, honey, this is part of learning how to live independently. You're going to get it figured out. But I was asking her, why do you feel like these things are hard for you? And why, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't been able to learn how, from that point, to instill more self-trust in her. Like, she just feels like a failure right now because she can't care for that.
So, excellent.
So I'm trying to figure out a way to help her have more trust in her, to where her performance would be different if she trusted herself. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Like,
makes total sense. And the first thing we can do is, with our words, instill trust or encourage trust. Honey, I trust you.
Right.
I trust you. Where you are is perfectly okay. The little things that are not going perfectly for you, that's okay. I still trust you. Because you're right where you're supposed to be and you're learning, and you're going to learn it. You're not the only 19-year-old who's gone to college and, you know, has had to learn new things. How many other 19-year-olds do you think have been in a similar position? Millions. Okay. Billions, world population. Okay. So, you're going to be okay. Allow yourself to be learning. And I trust you that you'll start paying more attention to how you're making decisions, how you're remembering certain things, memory tricks. There's a lot of tips out there to improve your memory, to help you keep track of things that you have to do, and there's a ton of resources available. I trust you to choose the right resource. See what I'm saying?
Just don't say when I was in college.
I had to, you're right.
Lose 'em.
Well, now you could say, you know what? Interesting you share that. You know, when I was in college,
I did the same thing. That's different.
guess what?
Yeah.
This is how I learned to trust myself in college. Fill in the blank. You know? The more you can speak the blessing, speak trust to people who are low on self-trust, that's a lot more effective than trying to solve their problem for them, or shooting on them, or telling them what they're supposed to be doing. They've heard all of that before. There's really very little value. Oh, sounds like you have a challenging situation. You know what? I trust you. You've figured things like this out before. Let me tell you, when I was challenged, what I learned about myself was, I trust you to know what to do. The more you do that, the more they hear it, and maybe, just maybe, they'll start to believe it. The chances that they do that are a whole lot better than the chances that they're actually going to follow your specific advice and do what you keep telling them they should do. Oh, if you make that choice, what impact would that have? Oh, okay. Well, if you choose B, what kind of impact would you have from that? What feels like the best choice to you? What do you want? What conditions do you want to create? What does success look like? What conditions do you want to create for that? Does that make sense? The biggest thing you can do for somebody who is low on self-trust is to reinforce your trust in them. Scripting or affirmative journaling is a technique to help you get clarity around these things. So, I always talk about getting a journal to script in and to write as if you already have what you want. It's a very powerful and affirmative way of writing. And you get a journal, you dedicate it, you sign it, and then you start to script and you start to describe what you want as if you already have it. So if it's a new job or a transition, during this transition phase, even though I'm not exactly clear on where I'm going to be, I intend to show up available for peace, clarity, confidence, self-respect, self-trust, making connections, meeting people, getting more clear on my personal brand, getting more clear. You know what I'm saying? So you start to create and you start to script that way.
I'm sorry, can you just say that again, even though I'm not exactly where I want to be?
Yeah, even though I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to be, I intend to create conditions for fill in the blank. I intend to feel I am peaceful, I am clear, I am confident about my direction. I am divinely led to new connections that I make in the present moment. Doors are open right now that even though I can't see them, I trust that they are there and I am being divinely led to them. Everything is unfolding in perfect divine time and order. Everything is on time. I am not too late for anything. You script about your values. I demonstrate self-trust by fill in the blank. Today I demonstrate integrity and consistency by. Today I value. In this process, I value my connections with other people. I am divinely led to new connections that lead to new opportunities. I am open to leveraging old connections in a new way. Led to new conversations, people that I haven't had contact with in some time. Return into my experience to help move me forward in a new direction. I'm divinely led to the perfect employees. I trust that I can let any employee go, and the universe already has employees to provide that are a perfect fit for my business, that love this kind of business, who show up available for process, mission and purpose, customers, leadership. I have an abundance mindset. Thank you, God. Gratitude is huge to script. Thank you, God, that I already have. Thank you, God, for that already. This has worked out. And so there's a whole list of positive and affirmative phrases you can use in your scripting. I am committed. I honor my path. I release judgment on others. I am open and willing to try something new. I am open and willing to try a new belief that allows for a change to happen in this relationship. And so by getting clear on what you really want, you align your emotions and your thoughts and your words, and then it becomes action-based. Then, like you were describing before class, you're led to the perfect art gallery and you're just wandering around and you decide to pick an art gallery and go in and strike up a conversation with the owner, and the next thing you know, bing, 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 bing. But by aligning your thoughts and emotions in your words first, and your actions kick in.
You sometimes have to check your own self-ego.
After all the time.
Because I did last night, yeah. She's like, I cleaned the floors. I walked in the house and I was like, I waited for her to turn around. I looked around. I was like, they look really awesome. They look great. You know? But at the same time, like, I just felt like I've got to start somewhere, you know? Because I'm like a neat freak, like, you know, I don't know, I grew up that way. But I didn't, it looked good enough for the human eye not to be able to tell most people, you know what I'm saying? But I said, I'm going to go to bed and sleep good tonight because I've already done enough. But just the fact that the effort was there, I felt like if I continued to build that, and I had to check my ego around, not the way I want it done, but it is what it is, you know? But I think that's where you're sharing when you're like, hey, get in touch with your emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
That's really hard. I mean,
This is all, and
That's
look,
ego check.
this is all emotional intelligence stuff. Emotional intelligence is simply the corporate buzzword for identifying values, being in touch with your emotional emotions, and understanding your emotions and other people's emotions and the values and perspectives that drive them. That's all emotional intelligence is. It's a fancy word for this. But it's important because by scripting, you start to get really emotionally intelligent. Because you start to get clear on who you are and what you want and what drives you. That helps you get clear on your boundaries, on your values. You start to become real clear about what's a fit for you and what's not a fit. Who's a fit for you and who's not a fit. What old beliefs don't fit anymore. We can go through a large period of our lives actually thinking and believing that we believe something. And I would challenge you to look at all of your beliefs, whether it's spiritual, about yourself, about your family, or whatever it is. Challenge you to question your beliefs around that and say, do I really believe what I believe? Or do I have the courage to call BS on myself and say, finally I have the courage to say, I don't believe that. Part of me never really did if I look back at it. Okay? But because tradition or custom or ego or whatever else, I decided I had to attach myself to a certain belief about something or somebody or myself in order to fill in the blank. If you haven't had a new belief in a while, you're not alive. You're dead. Now get some new beliefs. Challenge your old beliefs. If a belief cannot be challenged, if a perspective cannot be challenged or questioned, I would venture to say there's not much evidence behind it. If it can't withstand scrutiny, it doesn't really have sustaining value. Now, that doesn't mean that it won't. You might look at an old belief and say, wow, yeah, I really do believe it. It's a solid belief. In fact, now I really understand why I believe it, or a deeper level of why I believe it, and I've cemented then that value or belief into my core. And I'm empowered to exercise it freshly all over again. So I'm not saying throw out all of your old beliefs. I'm just saying look at them in a different way and say, does this belief serve me? How do I define this belief? Does it make me feel good? Does it bring me value? Does it take me to abundance mindset, trust? And I didn't talk a whole lot about personal brand, but this is the foundation of personal branding. Because once you start to identify who you are in this point, the personal brand blossoms. And then when you're a leader, you walk into your organization and say, these are my core leadership beliefs. This is part of my brand. Oh, by the way, here's the top values or principles for this organization. Or you bring the whole group around and you say, I want 5 values that we choose and circle the wagons around and we use on a consistent basis as a frame of reference for why we do things the way we do here. And you get some team input on that. You get some buy-in.
It's funny, someone once said to me, your first promotion is your IQ, and your interview would have already taken place when you get your second promotion. And I was like, And I pondered about that for a couple of years because I had too much of me to ask, what does that mean? You know? So quickly through conversing with coaches, you know, and leaders, and like I realized what it meant, everything you're talking about here. the branding pieces, the followership that you create, and how important this really is. It's not always so much just the numbers, or there's so much more to it, and that's something I know I work on every single day. But it took a long time for that to sink in. Like, well, do I just go sit in a room and interview for it? I got the number. It's far much more than that.
Way more. Lot deeper, lot of layers. Each one of you is a powerful creator. You really do have domination over all things. Dominion over all things. Especially this part of yourself. I trust you, each of you, to get more clear, to be able to get more clarity, more confidence, more peaceful, more centered, more focused around your values, who you are, and how you demonstrate your personal trust, your executive trust, and then your executive presence and influence on others. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Please remember the blue bowl by the coffee machine. Thank you. Had a pleasure.